¿Cómo estás? Welcome to the Keeping It Real podcast with Sulma, the swearing therapist. Hi, I'm Sulma Williams, a licensed clinical social worker who likes to keep it real and swears a lot. Today, I'd like to address the topic of change. Change is so difficult to navigate, and especially when the change is not coming from us. But yet, change is the only thing that is constant in life, right? Like we arrive to a certain level in life, and it's like, oh, I don't want anything to change. And change is the shit that keeps happening all the time. So I like to make the distinction between a change that I'm looking forward to and a change that is kind of like imposed or coming from the outside. So let's say that I am working at a place and I'm not happy for whatever reason, and I start looking for a job and I get an interview and I get an offer, and then I'm changing. I'm going and I am creating a change in my life. And I get all excited. You know, when you get the new job and you haven't given the 2 weeks notice yet to your old job, but you're like, I'm gonna be fucking out of here. Like I don't give a shit what's going on, right? We get so excited about it because we are looking forward to the change, to the new challenge, to, oh my God, like, and then we start a new job. Everything is fine and dandy for like whatever, a couple of weeks, and then reality fucking sets in, right? Like, so, because no place is perfect, but like a lot of times you get a new job and they are trying to tell you like, oh, we are a family here, and it's like, that's bullshit. Like, you're not a family. But and I got in trouble a lot of times when, when I was working in community mental health, where like we had the clinical meeting every week. And when new people will come in, the clinical director will say, yes, we are a family. And I'm like, I'm fucking laughing my ass off. And I got in trouble a couple of times because it's like, no, we are not. Like, stop saying that shit, because this place is a shit show. Like, so anyhow, so compare that. So I want to kind of like reinforce like how excited you get because you are creating this, you are manifesting this change in your life. So even though you maybe haven't given your 2 weeks notice yet, you're like, nothing that is fucking going on in the office is like can change your mood, because you're like, I'm gonna be fucking out of here, like, so maybe you haven't told anybody at the company yet. So that's when you are creating this change, and compare it versus losing your job, right? Like getting fired, for example. So you get to work and they're like, yeah, um, we don't have any more work for you, or we don't need your services anymore, or whatever, however you get the notice. And it's like, oh my God, like it's a change that comes from the outside, and we go, our anxiety is to the roof, we start spiraling, because it's like, oh my God, like now my entire life as I know it is changing. And it's the financial concerns, is the oh my God, I had to look for another job, and it's like, that's when we feel depressed and anxious and traumatized, depending on how how is done. And the bottom line is that the situation is the same. You are changing jobs ultimately, right? But in the first scenario, you are making that decision. And in the second example, that is imposed on you. And that's why it gets so much more difficult to manage because it's like, what the fuck? Like, what I'm gonna do now, right? And a lot of times when we get news like that, we start blaming ourselves, right? Like, what could I have done differently or whatever? And it might be a restructuring. HR is never, they're like so politically correct. They're never going to fucking tell you, like, yeah, you fucking suck. They're going to be like, oh, it's a restructuring or, like are getting rid of that department or whatever it might be. But sometimes it is true that it's restructuring, but we take it so personal. So remember when I talk about personalization, like if to determine if a situation is personal or not, you put your best friend in that situation. And if the situation remains the same, then it's not personal. And then but if the situation changes when it's your best friend, then maybe it is personal, but 9 out of 10 times situations are not personal at all. We don't know what the fuck, like maybe the company is going down and getting fired is a blessing in disguise because you can collect um unemployment or like versus a company not being able to pay your salary, but you as an employee you don't know that shit. And that is a very sticky position to be for managers, especially when you get promoted from within, because we were friends, we were working together. Now you are the manager and you cannot tell me shit. You have privileged information that you cannot share with me. So although you might know that coming Monday, I'm not gonna fucking be working here anymore. Uh, you are kind of like in between the loyalty to your employer and the loyalty to your employee. And I bet that is a fucking nightmare situation to be in. And we all have to remember that is is it truly personal, right? Like, because it's like if you've been showing up on time and doing your work to the best of your ability, and nobody was ever telling you like the shit that you need to correct, then of course you're going to be surprised when when you get fired, right? Like it's like, oh shit, like if there is no conversation and improvement plan in place, then it is safe to assume that you are doing a good job. And yet nobody has tomorrow guaranteed, right? In life and at work. So I invite you to, when it change is imposed on you, when the change comes from the outside, like you're renting a place and they don't renew your lease, or God forbid, you get in a car accident and you need to change vehicles, or your car is like, okay, like this is it. Like I had, oh my God, my first car ever. It was a Plymouth Horizon, a 1988 Plymouth Horizon. I drove that poor thing to death. Like literally the car stopped working. Oh, and I was forced to get another car, right? And which was like, so I got a Corolla after my Plymouth Horizon, and it was a change. And although it was a positive change, it was and I was happy. I needed to adjust to the new vehicle, right? So these changes that come from the outside a lot of times are blessings in disguise, but we don't realize that when we are going through it. We After the shit is said and done, then you look back and you're like, oh, if that didn't happen, that wouldn't happen, and so on and so forth. But when you are going through it, is like it's a lot of anxiety. So what can you do if you are being forced into a change? Remember to use deep breathing and grounding techniques. Remain as much as possible in the present moment. So in order to counter anxiety, that's what we need to do. We need to take action, right? And when we are taking action, when we are doing something, we are literally out of our head and into the present moment because we are taking action. So, for example, in the case of you got fired, so you update your resume, you start looking for jobs, you tell your friends and family that you are looking for a job, right? Like you are taking action. Once you are updating your resume, like you're fucking doing that. So you are doing it. So you are while you are taking action, there is no anxiety. And to have faith, right? Like because it's like, oh my god, like when is this going to get resolved? Remember how I communicate with God, manager, right? Like so it's like and a lot of times being forced to change is opening up doors and situations that you might have not explored if you didn't get fired, right? Like um so taking it with a grain of salt, knowing that you are going to be okay, not because of the world, but because you trust yourself. You have been through a lot of shit already and you came on the other side of that, and this is not different. So you take deep breath, use the grounding techniques, describe something with your eyes or what you are hearing or what you are touching. So that will bring you back to the present moment and continue to take action, whatever that might be, right? Like, so, and then eventually you're going to find a new job, and that might be the opportunity of like, oh, like, or it happens a lot with athletes where like they have this wonderful career in front of them and they have an injury and they cannot continue with that, and then they do something else, and they are very successful at this other thing, right? Like, so uh, I'm very, very old, but someone that comes to mind, and a lot of you might not even know who the fuck I'm talking about, but you can Google it, okay? His name is Julio Iglesias, and he is an Spanish singer from my time, okay? Many, 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 many years ago. He is Enrique Iglesias' father, but he was playing soccer when he was young, and he had an injury and he couldn't continue to play soccer, so he started um, singing, and then he had a very successful international career. So sometimes we're like, oh, this is, like I'm so used to what I'm doing, and it's like, maybe it's time to start exploring other venues. Okay, so if you can do that in on your own terms, is always a lot better. So if you are feeling stuck in your job or you are unhappy there, and I understand how the current situation is and all that, but there is always an opportunity that is waiting for us if we are looking, if we are paying attention. So if you're not happy in whatever area of your life, I'll encourage you to start taking steps to change that, so that you can feel better. I hope you find this helpful. Please follow, subscribe, share, and follow me on Instagram at the Swearing Therapist. And remember, if you woke up today that means that your mission in life is not complete. So keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you're going to come out on the other side of this challenge. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye.